This is TWIS. This Week in Science, episode number 1064, recorded on Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. Deploy the quantum science! Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Kiki, and tonight we will fill your heads with dirty phones, deep air, and ballistic spiders. But first, thanks to our amazing Patreon sponsors for their generous support of TWIS. You can become a part of the Patreon community at patreon.com/thisweekinscience. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer! The War of the Words started long ago. You might not have noticed then, but now you know that words don't work the way that they used to. Do we live in the upside down? What happened to dialogue? What happened to accepted definitions? When did science start to mean, I think I'm better than you? If we dial it back, this has been in the making for decades. The hubbub over evolution versus creationism. It wasn't just a philosophical schism. It was a wedge to crack the foundations of education that had helped this nation. It dredged up animosities that had been put aside with more and more advanced degrees. People were learning to see more diversely. All it did was scare the ministry. We saw the focus shift from conversations to recitations of what the word theory really means. Why did that happen? Well, we have ideas here on This Week in Science, coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind that can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science to you, Kiki.
And a good science to you too, Blair, and everyone out there. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Science. We are back again to talk about all the science that we see fit to bring to this broadcast. This week, there's so much stuff out there. I'm not going to talk about green algae and pond scum because everybody's talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to say that
That
up
is
front.
well traversed. There's lots of really smart people who this is their whole living is algae or, chemistry or how to cover surfaces who have,
And there are ways to cover
discussed.
surfaces so that paint doesn't peel up.
Yeah.
Certain amounts of hydrogen peroxide work better or worse because of the concentration of activation within certain solutions. So anyway, stoichiometry is your friend, friends. Yeah. So hydrogen peroxide, green algae, things like that. We're not gonna discuss those tonight. And I hope that we're not disappointing you, but there are many, many places where this is a huge conversation tonight. Additionally, quantum. We're going quantum. I mean, it's a new White House executive order. There are millions, billions of dollars being $2 billion or something like that, $20 billion being put toward quantum technology. The White House, the administration is basically saying, hey, we need better cryptography. We need to be able to beat everybody else. So we have to work with our allies. Do we have allies anymore? To be able to quantum the best. And, in that, there's some great conversations going on as well. Today, news came out that people are still debating whether or not Microsoft reached quantum dominance or whatever it is they're trying to do last year. Anyway, but at the same time, they're like, hey, but we came out with a new, more powerful chip that's even better. Anyway, I found out
Mhm.
about quantum sensors today. And so this is my new rabbit hole. And I promise to bring an interview
Oh, good.
to discuss what quantum sensors are and what good they will do us in the future. So that is something that I think is worth discussion. And
Yeah.
I give you my word and my bond that I will find a good quantum sensor researcher to talk to.
Great.
But if you know somebody who works in the field, let me know, because I am very interested in having a conversation on TWIS about quantum sensors. We've talked about quantum computing. We've talked about the chips. We've talked about the things. It's all happening. I want to know. I want to know.
I want to know. Quantum computers.
If only. Oh my gosh. We're going back to the 80s right now. It's the 80s, Blair.
Well, that I think was Tarzan, which was, I do believe, the 90s.
Tarzan?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's music
I want to
from-
know. Can you show me? I want to know. Strangers like me. Yeah, that's Tarzan. That's Tarzan.
Oh my God.
Phil
So
Collins.
the same chord progression is, I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind. So I was going back to the 80s.
Excellent.
You were doing Tarzan. All right.
Anyway, what'd you bring for the
Moving
show,
on.
Kiki? We haven't even. What'd you bring?
Yes. So stories that we've brought for the show tonight. I have got some epileptic brains giving us science, fly eyes, replacing the government websites, underground air, and orcas. What did you bring, Blair?
Oh, I brought dirty phones. I brought pterosaurs and how little we actually know about what they looked like. And there's the ballistic spiders that really Kiki brought, but we're going to chat about it together.
I know. They're your spiders, Blair. I give the spiders to you.
Thank you. I can't wait for you to tell me a spider story.
Thank you. It's so good. All right. So as we jump into the show tonight, I want to remind you that subscribing to TWIS on your favorite podcast platform is one of the best ways to bring science and curiosity into your life every single week. We also broadcast live on Wednesdays on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch around 8 p.m. Pacific time-ish. Our website is twis.org. And if you look for us on social media, look for TWIS Science, TWISCIENCE. Oh, but now it's time for the science. Are you ready?
Before that, can you tap your mic for me?
Did I not? I swear.
No, it's that. No, okay. Is anyone else hearing some
Am I
like...
scrackling?
I'm not
What's
sure.
happening?
It's,
Blah, blah, blah,
it's
blah.
almost like peaking, but
Oh,
I don't
That's
know. It's very strange. Okay, it's probably fine unless anyone else in the
if
chat.
it's peaking, I want it to not do that.
Yeah.
So I'd want it to turn down if people think it's peaking. I've got it on my normal settings.
It sounds okay.
Maybe I'm getting too close to it.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Great.
Very strange. Okay, well anyway.
I'll move you over there, microphone. We're going to move you over there, and then I'll just lean into it.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Looks
I think. Okay.
I'll mid-range that. Thank you very much, Blair.
You're welcome.
See,
All
and
right.
this is the kind of thing that's going to not be in the podcast. La, la, la. All right.
All right, hit me up. What do you got?
Let's replace the government's websites.
Ugh.
So there's been an issue with many pieces of important information being removed from our government's websites over the last year and a half. And one of the websites that has been turned off and all of the information put, not even all of it, a lot of the information just not there anymore, was climate.gov. One of the climate.gov was the government's main informational website going back over a decade, 15 years worth of blog posts, articles, science, visualizations, information from the IPCC reports, like all of our government's information put in accessible ways for people to be able to understand what's happening with climate and climate change. and it's just making it engaging and accessible. It's not there anymore. The government has had an executive order number 14303 restoring gold standard science, and this is now all or a lot of the information from the climate.gov page, you get redirected to NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and there's a message that says, in compliance with Executive Order 14303, Restoring Gold Standard Science, the White House Office of Science and Technology Policies, June 23rd, 2025 memorandum, agency guidance for implementing gold standard science in the conduct and management of scientific activities, 15 USC 2904, National Climate Program, 15 USC 2934, National Global Change Research Plan, and 33 USC 893A, NOAA Ocean and Atmospheric Science Education Programs. You have been redirected to NOAA.gov. Future research products previously housed under climate.gov will be available at noaa.gov/climate and its affiliate websites. So if you want to find the information that used to be at climate.gov and easily accessible, now you have to dig into subdirectories to be able to access this information. It makes it a little bit less easy to find. But now this website is gone, and what has been implied, according to John Timmer from Ars Technica and others, is that the deletion happened because climate research failed to uphold gold standard science.
Okay, but I went to climate.us just because I wanted to see what it looked like. And aside from it looking bad,
it's new. It's brand new.
It looks.
So this is. I haven't told people about climate.us yet.
Okay.
So this is the thing. People like Catherine Hayhoe and others who are dedicated to allowing the public to know what's going on with climate science and climate change, they have taken all of the public sites. They took all of those websites. They had downloaded them into a database. They have now made them available on climate.us.
Okay, so that makes sense. Okay.
It is a brand new nonprofit based website. And so it's not gorgeous. It is not what the U.S. Government's website used to look like. It is a nonprofit effort to make this information available to people and easily accessible. Additionally, what they are attempting to do with the nonprofit is to continue to create a central clearinghouse for climate information. That comes from vetted organizations, vetted scientific publications, and groups. So
this is interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, the NOAA climate site, that paragraph is very ominous and spooky. But then, yeah, if you go to the climate.us, like it looks like it looks like a blogger's website. It needs a little zhuzhing. So I think
it's very simple, and it looks like a blog. It doesn't look like it has the credibility.
Right. But as I was looking at it, I was
bigger.
like, what is this? Like, is this correct, or is this like a weird spin, or what's it? And I looked through it and I was like, oh no, this is all legit. Like, this is legit. This is legit. This is legit. And I was like, oh, maybe this is, and then you explained what it was, and I was like, okay, this totally makes sense. I'm really happy because I think that's the first thing that I was scared of when you were explaining what was happening with climate.gov and the redirection is like, where's this stuff going to go? Because this has been my fear from the beginning with the kind of the mass deletions that have been happening in .gov websites in general. Like when they did the control delete for everything with the word gay in it, and it deleted a whole article about Martha Gay and like all this, just this kind of like broad stroke that's being used. I keep hoping that there are people on the inside who are like, I'm gonna download all of the information in this one area and save it for later, because like this is my big fear about this administration over and over and over again, is not that we won't get through it, because most of us will. Again, not everyone will get through. the next, how long do you have left? 2.5 years? Like, not everyone will get through that, and I am sad about that. Most of us will, but the people who do, how are we going to get back to where we were? And so, like, what efforts are being made to save what is attempting to be destroyed so that we can restore, right? Like, and so that's, I mean, if nothing else, like, this climate.us doesn't have to be beautiful. It just has to be a safe space for this information for future restoration, right?
Yeah. So where you've got data librarians who are taking the information that is necessary and would have been going to the government website. And so there are individuals involved in this project who used to work on the climate.gov website. So it is the people who actually were creating that website along with others in the hopes of ensuring that the information is freely available and accessible to people. Yeah. But like comparing the websites, they've done a great job. It's up. It's awesome. But you're right. It looks like a blog. And, the .gov website, it's got a nice logo. It's got, it's just got, there's some kind of design cachet to it. It gives it heft.
Well, it feels a little bit like this was a.
They've got it up.
Oh my gosh, we got to figure this out. Let's get it together.
And let's just get it out.
And most of these people are doing this for free. So that's the other thing, right? Is that where are the resources? So it's all the people who are doing what they can to kind of maintain knowledge and support human rights and all these kinds of things. I don't know how they're surviving. Like, these people who used to work for the federal government and got laid off, got sent home, and they're continuing to fight the good fight. I don't know how they're paying their bills, but thank you so much to all of the people who are continuing to fight for real science and to maintain information.
Yeah. So I think it's wonderful that there are individuals putting this together outside the federal governments, as they say on their website, outside the federal domain. It's unfortunate that this is something that has had to come to pass, and that we can't that there need to be developments like this outside of what the federal government makes available online for the reliability of information these days. But anyway, for those that have been worried and wondering what's happening with the federal website data as things have been removed, changed, etc., the climate community is on the ball, and they have created a resource for people who are interested, climate.us.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it's a nonprofit, and it is completely based on public information, publicly available information.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's exciting. I think this is like one of the, you think about just the resilience of people. And I think this is an example of the things that people have come together to do and to create.
Of course,
yeah, it's kind of awesome. So anyway, okay. So people are listening to us on their phones or whatever. What do you want us to do, Blair?
I mean, we all know our phones are disgusting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every once in a while I remember.
I try not to think about it.
And I'm like, I should wipe down my phone.
What do? I take my shirt and I wipe down the front of it. This is really the height of sanitation. Oh my gosh.
So I want to tell you about a bit of research regarding your phonome.
Oh no.
It's your microbial ecosystem.
We're going to call it
on your phone. Yeah. Specifically, this was looking at hospital workers' phones. So this hits a bit close to home for me because Brian, who's been on the show, works in the hospital. He's a nurse in the hospital, and
Where
before
there are
this,
lots of germs.
for 10 years he worked in the ER, and now he works in the hospital. So the hospital workers' phones are disgusting. And now, just for context, he wears different shoes at work, okay? He changes shoes before he comes home. He comes home, first thing he does is he
Take a shower.
showers.
Yeah.
Puts on fresh clothes. The scrubs that he wore that day directly into the laundry. Very careful. Does he wipe his phone down every day? After this conversation, perhaps. So this is the largest study of its kind. That being said, it was only, I think, 95 phones. Where is it?
That's not a lot of phones, but
No.
I mean,
No.
when if it's a strong enough signal, you don't need a large sample set.
No. Yes, 95 mobile phones. They belong to healthcare workers in Australian and UAE hospitals. And they identified bacterial species responsible for a significant portion of the 13.7 million deaths caused by bacterial infections in 2019 alone. So they found like the heavy hitter bacterias on these phones. Gross, Kiki. Yuck.
But they're so pretty
Oh
when you
my
look at them.
Gosh.
When they've been cultured and they're underneath a pretty.
Yeah,
like,
it's like
yeah.
pipe cleaners and pom-poms.
They're so pretty.
Yeah.
I would like zhuzh. If I were doing crafts, I would do this very poorly.
That's very funny. Anyway, so they found some really bad bacteria on these phones.
Yeah.
Each phone carried 3.62 species from the 10 bacteria associated with the highest global mortality rates.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This includes Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, so I'm going to read through. I have the breakdown of what they are. So Staphylococcus aureus, commonly found on skin and in noses, but dangerous when it enters wounds, blood, lungs, or surgical sites, causes sepsis, pneumonia, and life-threatening bloodstream infections, and there are drug-resistant strains, such as MRSA. Pseudomonas aeruginosa, particularly dangerous for people in intensive care, burn units, or those with weakened immune systems. They can infect the lungs, blood, urinary tract, and wounds, and is notorious for resisting multiple antibiotics. One of the hardest
Pseudomonas,
possible
pneumonia.
pathogens to treat. Yes.
Yeah.
Klebsiella pneumonia, a major cause of pneumonia, bloodstream infections, and urinary tract infections in hospitals. Some strains produce enzymes that neutralize powerful antibiotics, including carbapenems, which are often considered last resort drugs. And then our good old friend Escherichia coli, E. coli. Usually harmless. How do you say it? Escherichia? How do you say it? Escherichia? Escherichia coli. How do you actually say it?
Just E. coli.
How do you say it?
Escherichia coli?
Escheria? So the
don't
second CH is silent?
Wait, I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Keep
anyway,
going.
it's usually in our gut.
It is.
I
It
thought you
should
were
be in our
laughing
gut.
at me because I was saying it wrong. You were
No.
laughing at me because you yourself did not know how to say it. Okay, that's good to
it's
know.
not
Because I
an
was like,
easy
why is
one.
she laughing at me? Certain strains can cause severe food poisoning, urinary tract infections, kidney infections, sepsis, and there's
Escherichia.
often Escherichia. Thank you.
Escherichia.
Thank you. And there are antibiotic resistant E. coli's, which are usually found in hospitals, and they are of growing global concern. Okay, so these are the four that were found over and over on these phones. They used a new technique called metagenomics to scan raw DNA on the phones, which identifies not only the bacteria themselves, but also the genes they can carry, because the genes they're carrying might shield them from drugs. So this revealed not only these specific strains of bacteria, but also that the phones harbored the genetic toolkit bacteria that share antibiotic resistance traits raising the possibility that devices may be reservoirs for hard to treat infections. So they had these really dangerous bacteria, but they also had bacteria that were less dangerous, but had the antibacterial resistance capabilities where there could be transfer and then blah, 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 blah. So not good. So the phonome was bad, basically. And
Phonome.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
So they tested what was on the phones. They did not test transmission of infection based on the phone. So that would kind of be the next step that you could do. But the idea is that this is a potential cross-contamination pathway that is currently under-recognized in clinical settings. Are they asking you, you know, they're asking you to wash your hands. They might have you gown up before you go into a particular room. They might have you dip your feet into a solution before you walk into a room. They might even have you completely shower if you leave a certain room with a certain pathogen involved. But are they saying, take out your phone, wipe it down? Also, reminder, especially
Maybe you should
doctors
have 2 phones.
Okay, so let's talk about that too. So a lot of doctors get calls to
While they're on
go to
rounds.
other floors while they're on rounds. So they're in a room, they have to take a call, they have been touching things, then they're going into another room. They could be going from one floor to another. So a lot of staff stay on a specific floor. But if a doctor is traveling between floors, then there's one person who's able to bring things up and down with that phone. Yes, it would be great to have a work phone and a personal phone. However, also a lot of hospitals are moving to a system where they use something very much like a phone as a pager system.
That's what I was just going to say. Let's go back to pagers.
Yes, so they have these new things.
Button that you push and not have to pick up the whole phone.
Yeah, when I was postpartum, right after I gave birth, they had a new system they had just started in the Kaiser system in Northern California, which is basically like a phone on a lanyard that they wear around their neck. And so if you get kind of paged or an order comes through or a reminder comes up, you have to like pick up the phone and like hit a button or whatever, and then it drops back down. But you are actively taking care of patients, and you are supposed to be wiping that thing down throughout the day. But are they, double checking their practices? Are they making sure that it is getting thoroughly cleaned at the end of the day? Do they have cleaning practices? Like, other things go to an autoclave, but you can't autoclave.
You don't do that to a phone.
So I think that that's really interesting. I also know that like wiping down a phone is one thing, but if you have a case, if you have a screen protector, if you have anything else, there are all these little ridges where bacteria can live, the individual plug areas, the speaker, the microphone, right? So there's all sorts of areas that can potentially harbor bacteria. And so, the long and short of this is an area that hasn't really been looked at too closely, specifically in clinical settings, as a potential for disease transmission. And so this is like just a call to arms, basically like, hey, look at the phones.
Well, I mean, it's pens, clipboards, anything that you're picking up and taking with you from place to place has that potential. But the reality is that the way we use phones and the touch screens that phones have these days, it is a completely different beast.
Well, especially like, not to get too gross, but did you
Go
look
for
at
it.
your phone in the bathroom? Did you look at your phone in the bathroom?
I don't.
People do.
People do. I know.
And did they touch the doorknob that somebody else touched after they didn't wash their hands? And then you touched your phone, and then you touched the phone to your face, and then, I don't know. I'm just like...
Maybe there's like a special bag that phones can go in.
Oh, that would be nice, like a wet bag or something.
It's like but maybe that has touch sensitivity, but that bag itself can be autoclaved, right? So you put the bag in, the phone in the bag, everything, the phone stays in there, and then you take it out, the bag goes into, all the other biohazard, clean it up stuff. I don't know. Why not? Somebody make it. Somebody make it.
I don't know. There's something there for sure. But also, just in the hospital, you're doing a lot of things to make sure things are clean and not being transmitted from one room to another. Are you keeping an eye on clinicians' phones?
Yeah. And one of the graphics from this paper, though, is showing the different cleaning modalities. Alcohol wipes can be great, but it could harm your phone over
Oh my
time,
gosh, I see that.
right? Leaves behind eDNA. UV sanitizers doesn't remove biofilms. It doesn't have efficacy when your phone cases don't work. Also, UVC sanitizers don't always work. Medical grade disinfectant wipes would probably be the best thing you could use, but then those are highly corrosive, according to this.
Ah,
So they're
I
probably going to mess up your
see.
mobile phone. So the plastic will
Yikes.
break down over time. So what
That
we
is so
need
rough.
are stainless steel mobile phones
Yeah.
with real glass that can be, that can go through autoclaves. This is what we need. Time to go back to the flip phone, I think.
I'd love that. I was looking
Or
through my old
pagers.
flip phones and candy bar phones. My parents have them on a shelf in the garage, and I was looking at them and I was so nostalgic. I was like, oh man, this was so great.
I actually saw a story today. So nostalgia, 100%. Someone has bought all the rights to the old Commodore brand, and they have put out a couple of computing devices so far, but
Sure.
they are coming out with a Commodore branded and like 1980s styled flip phone that does not have internet access to social media. So you have internet access, so you could do chat or text. You can have phone calls. There can be video phone calls between people, but it the way that they are setting it up is specifically to whitelist certain sites or
Mm-hmm.
apps and not
Mm-hmm.
others. So even if you could get TikTok onto the phone, they also block the DNS for all of the TikTok servers. So it's like an anti-social media phone. It's
Amazing.
taking you back to like the flip phone. I don't know. I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah. I just want to take
I'm
calls, send
excited.
texts, and
Mhm.
maps because I atrophied that part of my brain and now I need maps.
Maps are great. I love taking pictures though. I love my phone for
Pictures,
pictures.
pictures, pictures,
My
pictures.
phone is my
Yes.
camera. And I think that's
Hmm.
the hard one. But I used to be happy with, those little 35 millimeter
Oh,
box
the super
cameras,
flat ones.
right? I was happy with those back in the 80s. So
Oh man, that's
I
great.
could go back in quality, maybe, probably not. All right, everybody, clean your phones.
Yeah.
Let this be a lesson to you. Clean your phones. Another story that is kind of to do with cleaning things, keeping things working the right way. Researchers at the Sanford Underground Research Facility. This is the mile deep detector facility that's over on the East Coast, kind of in the Midwest area. I don't know, not Midwest, Mideast area. They call it SURF, Sanford Underground Research Facility. SURF has nothing to do with surfing, but it used to be a super deep mine, and now it's a mile deep, like not quantum, gravitational, I don't know, particle detector. That's what it is. Sorry, words went away for a second. So
Hmm.
it's this amazing particle detector. It's an incredible physics lab. They've buried it deep below ground to try and get rid of the noise of all the stuff that happens at the surface to be able to get cleaner signals. They've got some great work going on there, and I would love to visit this facility at some point in the future. But a few years ago, they realized that when it was super, super rainy outside above ground, the air underground would shift directions, and their fans and their ventilation system would have problems. And usually with big deep mining situations, they don't spend a lot of time working out the kinks on the airflow. It's like just go in, get the stuff, get out, make it work. Yes, neutrino detection. I think there's neutrino detecting their radius. Yes, I think that's one of them. One of the things they do there. Uh, but what they determined is that there was some weird stuff happening in the airflow. And because this is a place that's a laboratory and they have people working in there and trying to not just, mine for money for somebody else, they're actually trying to be safe and get information for societal good in the future of humanity. They're like, okay, we'll take some time. And so they had a local high school teacher who's been working with them and bringing interns in from the high school, develop over time air monitors to be able to monitor the airflow and see what was going on. And what they determined is that over time, they had a situation where in mines, and unfortunately, there's no really good picture of what happens with this. But if you can imagine, there are air shafts and there are person transportation shafts, and there are places where they have to deal with water that drips through the earth down to the deep, deep levels. They're a mile underground, and the water percolates underground, and sometimes through some places it starts flowing like a river from above ground. When you've got a lot of downflow from the sky to the surface of the earth, it'll just flow like a river, and it has to go somewhere. So they have systems to shunt water flow because they have to keep it away from the equipment and where all the people are. So they have to manage that. What they determined is during these periods when they were shunting the water flow, that's when the airflow got wonky. And so the students and this teacher, they were able to determine that there's enough water coming down drop by drop to displace the air. And so they did a bunch of simulations and, calculations of water droplet density and the space and the displacement of air that would be taking place as these flow shafts were opened. And they were able to figure out basically that when it's really, really raining, they have to figure something else out for the airflow. Because if it's really, really raining and they're opening up this river underground to shunt it in a particular direction, what it's doing is pushing all of the air that was in that shaft other places against the airflow that they maybe have set up officially for their ventilation.
That's
Yeah. So this study was published in Effects of Water Inflows on a Mine Ventilation System, a case study, mining metallurgy and exploration. And the researchers have are going to be working with this to be able to actually help mining around the world. So can we create better, safer mining situations? Can we create better, safer underground anything situations, right?
Anything.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're putting people underground, you don't want to accidentally push all the air out because you had to make sure they didn't drown. But oops, you pushed the air out. There's there are pros and cons there are balances that have to be made. And so I think it's interesting that nobody had thought about the displacement of a mile of air by a torrent of water.
Yeah, that's so that feels scary to me. Right? Like, so
just
first
going
of all,
a mile underground.
How do you get down there? Like a freight elevator? Is that how you get down there?
Yep, it's a big, long.
Oh my gosh, how long is that ride?
Very long ride.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you get down there, and then it starts raining, and then there starts to be water. You're like, well, I better go up. Hope it doesn't fill up in the 45 minutes it takes me to go up in this lift.
Right.
Oh my goodness. That's
spooky.
So I don't want to be that far underground.
There's no getting out quickly. It's just going to take the time it takes.
Yeah, I know you want to go, Kiki. I will stay on land. I will stay above ground.
You don't want to come with me to the mile deep mine?
I'll go with you. I'm not going down, though.
I'm
not going down. No.
Come on.
Nope.
It's going to be great. Well, maybe you can go part way.
Yeah.
There are different
no,
levels.
I'll hang out on top.
There's many different levels you could explore.
Oh my goodness.
Although, if we split up, it's going to be a horror movie.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so.
Oh boy. Beware of the chuds.
Anyway, thought it's exciting. The high school teacher is now working at SURF as a dedicated ventilation engineer. But he has spent a lot of time helping, over 30 years, helping students and teaching students in physics and engineering. And I think it's just amazing to bring students into not just, well, let's work out the physics, but also you're going to come underground. Let's make the tools we need for air monitoring. Let's build the things and let's figure out this problem. So, putting the students into the application of you're helping, I think is just, it's a wonderful experience.
Of course.
Yeah. My final story for this first bit of the show. Who doesn't love orcas? The killer whales.
I love when they're capsizing yachts. That's always fun.
I don't think that the captains of those ships like the orcas very much. Yeah. I mean, the killer whale, the orca, intelligent predator species around the planet. They're incredible ocean mammals. And the porpoise, they're related to porpoises, right, Blair?
Yeah, they're basically dolphins. Yeah.
They're basically big dolphins.
They're big dolphins.
Big dolphins. But in the Puget Sound area specifically, we have seen that there are multiple populations. And historically, there are the local pods, J, K, and L are the pods, and they're fish eaters. They're not mammal eaters. They eat fish and they stick around locally. And people have been following these orcas for a very long time. And usually the mammal eaters are more ocean going and the ones that kind of come in seasonally. And they're not usually around year round. And so this has kind of been the common knowledge about how the different pods of orcas work in the Puget Sound area. However, recently, what they've discovered by following and looking at these whales, data set from 44 years from the Washington State watery region, they've been able to determine that there are what they call the Biggs killer whales. They're big seal eaters. The Biggs whales are the mammal eaters. They're the ones who used to be not resident. They were the interlopers, come in seasonally. But what's happened, and this is published in PLOS this month, is that they have shown that the Biggs are increasing their year-round presence, and they are increasing their resident status, which is just kind of fascinating because they've never been called residents before. The residents are JKL. And so the J pod is the pod that everybody talks about as being, hey, you're the friendly ones. We like the J pod. They're the ones that are always around and we really like them. But it turns out that they are around less and less. And that the fish eaters are not around as much and the mammal eaters are around more. And so the question is, why?
Yeah, are they getting pushed out?
Are they getting pushed out?
Orcas, or
Is
are
it
the fish leaving?
Yes, right. Exactly. And so the K pod and the L pod have been less present for a very long time, but it's the increase in the Biggs killer whales over the seasons that is of real concern as well. Because if you have more and more of the aggressive mammal eaters, what does that also mean for the ecosystem?
Yeah.
Well,
then my question is, are the mammals sticking around differently?
And that is not in this story. So
right.
That's, yeah, right? This is not what we know.
Yeah, is climate change completely changing the migration patterns of marine mammals that they are eating? Because
Yes, I'm going to say
it would
yes.
make sense that the reason they don't hang out is because the seals have to go to a breeding beach elsewhere.
Mhm.
If the seals aren't leaving, then why would the orcas leave?
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing. So we don't have seals, but sea lions are increasing in their invasion of the Columbia River.
Mm.
So sea lions are coming up the Columbia River up to the Bonneville Dam, and they are actually doing a lot of damage on the fisheries because they're coming in and predating a lot of the fish species in their local little spots. And so there's an interesting push to get rid of the sea lions as they're coming
Right.
into the Columbia
But how do you
River.
do that? They're protected, baby. Well, also, like, why are they inundating? Why are they showing up? Is it
Because it's harder out on the coast.
It's not that the fish they're not following the fish. They're looking for new fish.
Yes, exactly. And everybody wants an easy life, right? So they're looking for the easy situation.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's
what
why
we
there
have,
are sea lions at Pier 39. It's the easy life
Exactly.
in the bay. No white
Yeah.
sharks in the bay.
Right. So they're getting away from their predators.
Yes.
They're coming into a spot. And so perhaps this is a situation that is also occurring where if you have increased seals or the food that the mammal eating orcas like coming in, predating on the fish closer to land because they're also moving away from their predators. The fish eating orcas are like, there's too much competition. And so then they're moving and going other places. And then the mammal eaters are coming in. And so we have a churn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We can make up all sorts of rationalizations about this, but anyway.
Food webs.
Yeah, the orca makeup is shifting. And I wonder if it's shifting elsewhere. And I do wonder if it'll push evolution or adaptation of different food choices in the different pods of orcas. Are we going to see a shift to fish eating or mammal eating by any of these groups that we've already defined as fish eaters or mammal eaters? Because it's not like they can't eat the others.
Right. Well,
Right?
also, are these less friendly orcas going to become more friendly because they're exposed to humans more?
Right.
It's all a moving target.
It is. It's a very, very interesting question. But this is the first report after doing this deep dive into the data of this very significant and recent change that is taking place. So, yeah. Still orcas, just different orcas.
Uh-huh.
They're moving.
Cool.
They're shifting. It's kind of cool. Yeah. This is This Week in Science. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. And I do hope that if you are an orca fanatic, you enjoyed this last story. If you enjoy science, that you stick around and watch a little bit more of this show. We're here every Wednesday. TWIS.org is our website. Check us out. Subscribe to our podcast, to our live videos. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And our social media is at TWIS Science. If you head to TWIS.org, our website, you can find our Patreon. So if you're interested in supporting us in an ongoing fashion, I'd love to read your name at the end of the show, $10 and more as a Patreon sponsor, and I will add your name to our list very, very happily. We also have our Zazzle link at the website, and I do hope to see you out there in the wild wearing your TWIS clothes, TWIS hat, TWIS shirt, TWIS towel out on the beaches. It's summertime up here. Woohoo! We can't do it without you. Thank you so much for your support. And now it's time to move on to one of our favorite weekly segments, Blair's Animal Corner with Blair.
She loves our creatures, great and small, bipedal millipede, no pet at all. If you want to hear about animals, she's your girl. Except for giant pandas and squirrels, there's animal corner.
What you got, Blair?
I have fossils that are lies.
What?
No,
No.
it's an exaggeration.
Tell me
Pterosaurs.
lies, tell me
Okay.
sweet little lies.
Pterosaurs, the winged dinosaurs.
Yes.
There's a lot of different types of pterosaurs that you could look at
Yeah.
in a museum.
Okay. I was like, where?
And they are, reconstructions. They'll suspend the bones. They'll make drawings. I got to pretend to be a pterosaur in an exhibit at the Cal Academy where I flapped my wings in
What?
front of like a Xbox. What were they called? The little like camera that you could point at yourself and you could do body movements, and it was like gaming. And so I got to pretend to be a pterosaur and flap my wings and try to catch some fish. Anyway,
I was going to hope that we had video of that.
I actually do have some on my Instagram, I think.
It's
From a long time ago. But they all kind of look the same. They look like the stereotypical pterodactyl. Like whoever the paleontologist was that assembled the first pterodactyl skeleton, they really set a precedent.
Okay. All right.
And so you can hear where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So this is from University of Bristol, and researchers wanted to look at the different lifestyles that pterosaurs were expected to have, the different kind of bone structures they had, the different flight ability that they had, and therefore the expectation that there would be some variation in the shape of their wings. Not every bird has the exact same shape of wing.
True.
So these reconstructions are missing variation. And lead author Benton Walters from Bristol School of Earth Sciences says that's probably a mistake. So the issue is there are difficulties in reconstructing and studying extinct animals, of course. In particular, pterodactyls and pterosaurs are difficult because bones are maintained, but the soft tissue between them often are not, and it is really difficult to figure out exactly what angle those bones sit at when they are neutral.
Okay. Yep.
And they go from being palm-sized to the size of a plane, like the Quetzalcoatlus. So there's this huge variation in shape and size. And the wing shape and size in relation to the body is very different as well. So what they did is they used a theoretical morphospace to create a map of all the possible shapes or forms that the wings could have. Then they could test the function of the wing reconstructions to figure out how well shaped they were for flight, depending on the body size, the body shape, and then these different wing shapes.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is great. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they just found that there were a lot of different potential shapes. Like it's not, I'm sorry, I don't have a really good,
It could have been a lot of difference.
earth-shattering answers here, but just that there's variation. There must be variation. They found a lot of different shapes and sizes of these wings, different positions of these wings, different types of connective tissue between the wing bones, and some of them worked in some of them, and some different ones worked in different ones. So like they found that variation was possible, basically.
Yeah. So one of the things that I would love to know, because when you look at the bones, when you are doing any ology, right, and mammalogy, paleontology, what you start with are the bones. And you start with, you learn like this tubercle or that, chiasm, or, what are the different little lumps and bumps and holes on a wrist bone or the ulna and radius coming together with, how are they coming together? And the reason they're important is because those are the spots where ligaments and tendons connect. And the ligament and tendon connection should also give you some idea of where the skin is coming in, why, how the limbs are oriented. So I'm sure they've taken all that into account, but it's the complexity, I think, is the interesting part.
Yeah, and I think that what they're trying to get at here is that we are developing better technologies all the time to assess fossils. And so you should be able to, as time progresses, you should be able to use new techniques to see better imaging of fossils, to use different types of light beyond what humans can see how connective tissue is moving or how things are supposed to connect. And so it's more just that we should be opening our minds to the potential for different shapes. It's not just like, we found these wings, they go together this way. It's more that, like, we found some bones. Let's explore the different ways they could have been organized or shaped or bent. And I think that's the main message here is, like, stop assuming that the initial paleontologists got it 100% right. Because
they did not, most likely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the problem is, like, even though we know a lot of dinosaurs had feathers, for example, we still picture our dinosaurs as these, like, green scaly guys. We learned that T-Rexes have lips, but we still don't picture them with lips. So those kind of I don't know, would you call them schemas? Like, I don't know, like those parts of your brain that are built, those pathways are so strong from childhood that, like, I mean, how many things have dinosaurs on them that my child has already seen? And he's not yet 3, right? And, like, that's what dinosaurs look like.
That's a dinosaur.
Right? That's a dinosaur. So it's hard to break those, but recognizing that, like, so much paleontology is like an educated guess. It's educated. It's not out of nowhere. They're not pulling it out of nowhere. It is an educated guess, but it is still a guess because, for example, the Quetzalcoatlus, they still have never found a complete skeleton of a Quetzalcoatlus. Like, they have just a few bones, and they were like, we think it's this thing. So, so there's still a suspension of disbelief and kind of like a leap of faith of just like, this is our best guess of what this thing looked like. But that's based on our understanding of previous complete skeletons of related animals, or also animals we assume are related. Because also for a lot of these, we're working off of physical features instead of genetic features.
Yep.
We are going with the kind of the physiological groupings,
but
because that's what we have.
Morphology leads to, it tells you function. Like, morphology,
it tells you function. It does not always tell you relation, right?
No,
which is where you get into trouble, because you can end up with polyphyletic groups. So you look at the phylogeny and you, like, decide, like, okay, so these two animals look similar, therefore they are related.
They're related.
Therefore, I am going to assume, based on the bones that I have, that they look like this but bigger, or they look like this but smaller. And so there are a lot of kind of relative assumptions being made with fossils, which is how it's done. I am not talking trash. Like, this is how you assess fossils. This is how it works. It's all relative. You're working off of the information you have and making relative judgments. But if you now know, for example, that a pterosaur does not have to have wings that look a particular way, then it gives you the opportunity to look at things more open-minded, take in the information you have, and explore potential outputs in a way that you haven't been before.
Exactly. Not all reconstructions of pterosaurs should look the same, right? They should not.
But they often do.
Do, because we haven't thought about it from this perspective. But it really is morphology, how it's structured, how it's structured leads to function. Function leads to structure. And so you can also, if you know that you're finding a particular pterosaur in an area that is marine, right? That pterosaur is probably going to be doing more soaring, less, needs less quick movement. So it might have larger wings. Okay, so the larger wings, how would they be connected? And so you start to see it's the puzzle of structure and function within ecological niche, which, I mean, there's a lot of pieces, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's great.
No, absolutely.
So cool.
Yeah. And of course somebody in the chat said, I'd love to see this paper because I just made a bunch of dragons.
Oh, how
it's very similar, right?
Yeah.
And then of course I started to think, well, are they dragons or are they wyverns?
Wyverns,
Because
right.
wyverns, I'm trying to remember which is which. Wyverns, I think their hands are they're closer to pterodactyls, right? Like wyverns, their hands are part of their wings, and then dragons, their front legs are separate from wings, so they actually have like 6 appendages, I think. True dragons have 4 legs and 2 wings. Wyverns have only 2 legs, and the use of their wings is front limbs. Yes. Thank you, internet. So anyway, the pterodactyls are more like wyverns, if you want to get real nasty about it.
Oh, well, there you go.
Anyway, yeah, so those are my pterodactyls. Kiki, tell me about ballistic spiders, please.
Well, I was hoping you would tell me about
Well, I can tell
spiders.
you what I've gleaned, and you can tell me what I missed. How does that sound? Because you read the whole paper, and I read just a little bit of it.
Introduce this.
Okay, so, hey, I'm a spider.
Yes.
I like to eat ants. And there are these ants, what are they? Green, biting ants? What are they called?
You're doing great. You're doing really great.
So is that what they're
I
called?
think they're green ants.
Okay,
Green
so
tree
anyway.
ants. They're the green tree ant.
Okay, sure.
Oecophila smaragdina.
Great. And so these spiders make these crazy webs. There's a web over here, and then they make a funnel web over here. Okay. And then the ant walks up, and they're like, get this funnel out of my way. And they clip it with their mandible.
Bite it.
And the funnel goes, "Hoo-chong!" And they get catapulted into the web that is up and off to the side.
Yes.
So that the spider can eat the ant.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes. I just love this story. So yes, you totally got it. So they're calling this the Australian ballista spider.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It's in the Propostera species. Anyway, it's Propostera genus with the species. But yes, it is the ballista spider. And this spider has specifically adapted to catch these green tree ants, which are really aggressive, and they will swarm and attack together. And so if you're a spider in a web and you're sitting and waiting, and the ants, if you go and try and get an ant, all of its friends are going to attack you. If you're sitting and waiting and attract the ants to your web, all the ants are going to come and get you and attack you. And that's not great for survival. And so that's what this spider has adapted to do, is set a trap for individual ants so that when one ant comes and bites this little cone that it has stuck to a leaf, it is trebucheted into the web. And they accurately they've set the tension on this. They've created the system to make it happen. Like, it is amazing to me that this conical snare, as they call it, that the spider is able to create this. And it's not just, a single strand of web up and down and up and down. They have several strands, and then they spiral, they weave around the bottom of them to increase the tension from all of these pieces of web that have come down to the base. And additionally, the researchers think that they have embedded some sort of pheromone that the ants are attracted to and want to bite into the web so that it makes them more likely to bite it. but the ants come and they bite, and then they are rapidly accelerated
Oh my goodness.
up and into the web where the
Amazing.
spider can come and get them. And it just,
Wow.
yeah, we've got a video on right now that's a slow motion of the trap jaw of these green tree ants biting
Yeah.
onto the web. And
The
biting
physics
it,
involved are crazy.
yeah, the tensioning of the snare, the trebuchet action to launch the ants up into the web, where the spider wants them. This is basically, I've got this is like a dude being launched out of a cannon, right? At the fair.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, look at that thing. This is amazing.
Yeah, and the researchers are saying that the speeds at which they get the ant moving, this is one of the most rapid examples of acceleration that they've found. They've got accelerations, reaching distances of up to 28.19 centimeters from the substrate, which would be a leaf or something. Peak accelerations of 1,367 meters per second squared. Over 1,000 meters per second squared. Maximum velocities of 4.36 meters per second. And the spider doesn't pay any attention until the ant is in the web. And the ant has to be entangled, and then the spider comes up and is like, dude, I got you, and comes and gets him. Yeah. Wow. This is one of the most just brilliant adaptations. It's one of these questions of how trial and error over time it happens. But they're incredibly accurate. Their tension lines are incredibly strong and are ballista spiders.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I want preschoolers learning how to do ballistas like this spider.
Do you?
Why not?
They will ballista all the wrong things. I can guarantee you.
Oh, I know.
Wouldn't ballista the cat.
So entertaining.
Your earrings.
So I'm not involved.
Your wallet.
Oh,
goodness.
Yeah.
That's
anyway,
pretty cool.
Favorite spider of 2026, the ballista spider.
That's Kiki. It is only June. You're calling that now?
I am. I'm calling it right now.
Okay.
Ballista spider.
Noted. Let's see.
Of the year.
Hey, everyone listening and watching, please remember this. And when it gets towards the end of the year, remind us about this, please. Thank you. Please and thank you.
Kiki, is this still your favorite spider?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on from spiders, let's go to fruit flies. I want to talk about oh my gosh, I said fruit flies. It's not even fruit flies. It's zebrafishes.
Oh.
Zebrafish.
Those are different.
Completely different.
I mean, they're both
Totally
definitely like typical lab animals, but yeah, very different.
I read a lot of stories. I got a little
there was a lot of science this week, I gotta say. I was a little overwhelmed at first. There was a lot going on, which I was excited. I was so excited. Every time there's a big week, I'm like, yay, it's so great. There's good stuff coming out. This story is just wonderful because researchers at King's College London were studying zebrafish to figure out how their eyes developed. So zebrafish, young zebrafish, they have a tendency to swim toward vertical lines. And the researchers believe that it has to do with, the fish orient themselves vertically. And so they are attracted to visually anything that is also vertically oriented, as opposed to, say, a flounder that's sideways. But the question they were wondering is this something that's inherent to gravity, or is it something that is
related to the environment they grow up in. And nobody had asked this question yet. So they raised zebrafish surrounded by virtual reality horizontal lines or
Okay.
virtual reality vertical lines.
Okay.
So the only things that surrounded these fish in the fish tanks were horizontal lines for some of them. So lots of like very, very nautical. And in other places, just vertical lines. So the other ones just got vertical stripes. And then they did a test to see how, when you gave them an environment to be in, and then, oh, here's a line. Do you want to go to the horizontal or the vertical? They found that orientation to vertical lines was not standard, that many of the individuals who were raised in the horizontal line environment, their preference for vertical stripes was very reduced. A lot of them still did like vertical lines, but it reduced their preference for the vertical. So what they're suggesting here is that, and this isn't in the brain, this is the retina of the eye. So these are cells in the eye, in the retina, that have changed their preference for stimulation based on the environment that organism grew up in. And the researchers are saying that this is basically adding to this body of evidence that even though there's lots and lots of processing in the brain, the retina is part of pre-processing our visual scene before the information actually gets sent to the rest of the brain.
So do you think that's like how people who were raised in areas that are super overcast, they prefer to be in an overcast place versus a place that's like bright and sunny? Like it's I'm just wondering if there's some sort of, or you like to have a particular palette because that was the palette that you grew up in your house when you were growing up. Or...
Well, so we can say that for taste, that there's definitely, so even what the mother eats while the baby is growing in the womb leads to the human child's preferences for foods after they're out. Whatever you're eating while you're breastfeeding, the flavors are the things that the kid is getting to know, also not be allergic to. And then when they start eating solid food, they're more likely to eat the stuff that you ate. More likely to. Doesn't mean that they're gonna. But when it comes to vision, we haven't thought about it in that way, right? We never, it's just, there's the world and it's just stimulation. And it's never been the question really. I mean, obviously people are looking at this question, but I don't think it's been really discussed how the environment influences the eye development. Not just brain development, but the eye development.
Yeah.
And if the eye is the first level of processing, that is absolutely essential. So if you're brought up in a dark environment, you're probably going to have eyes that are better adapted for a dark environment.
Yeah, like if you grew up in Alaska where you get
is that something
like it's like nighttime all day. Do you have better nocturnal vision than someone who's not from there?
There's so many questions.
Yeah.
Right? What exactly is the implication for the visual things you see during development or don't see, and how that impacts the cells, the retinal cells?
Once again, nature or nurture? Both.
Both. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then my last couple of stories are both stories related to the brains of epileptic patients. Both of these studies were published this last week in Cell Press journals. The first is to do with the hippocampus, because I really love hippocampus. And we've had questions previously about, oh, hey, if you're bilingual, where are you storing the words? And if you are thinking of an apple and you say apple in English or you say pomme in French, how is it the apple that connects it together, or do you have two words that are stored somewhere?
Interesting.
Like do you have two different apples stored in your brain somewhere? And so the researchers, this is not a large sample set, but they had 4 bilingual individuals who were undergoing epileptic surgery. And so they did hippocampal recordings while these individuals were listening to different words being said. And so they were able to determine that within the hippocampus is basically like the map of where all these words are, and that all of the words overlap based on concept. And so concept is the most important aspect of how the words are stored, or at least accessible within our memory. The hippocampus is the hub of putting the information together. And so the hippocampus goes, you are thinking of apple, universe, whatever word, life it has to be. And those neurons, they were able to take the recordings from one individual in one language and predict exactly where the single neurons, not groups of neurons, but individual neurons, they were predicting the location of individual neurons that would respond to the same word in the other language. And so it's semantics, it's context, it's concept. Our brain is this is just more evidence of our brain being a metaphor machine.
When I was in college and I was getting a French minor, and so I was doing like a lot of French, like every day French.
I tried. I almost got a minor.
Yeah.
I just really didn't like composition.
Yes, well. Yeah, well, I mean, so I was like writing papers in French, I was doing presentations in French, and so I was really deep in it. And I remember being very excited when I dreamt in French for the very first time, because it was like, this is becoming native to my body, because I dreamed in that other language, which was really cool. But then what happened more often after that was it would be a mixture.
Yeah.
Where there would be kind of this mishmash of English and French, that words were being used kind of interchangeably. And I think that kind of follows this idea that it is concepts. It's not you have your French filing cabinet in your brain and you have your English filing cabinet in your brain. And if you're in the English filing cabinet, you stay in the English filing cabinet. No, it's like, it's concept based. And so you're pulling language. I will say I had a French teacher once though, that she was actually German. And so German was her native language. She learned French from German, and she learned English from German. And so because she was teaching French to English people, I would say, how do you say bicycle? She would have to translate bicycle into German and then from German into French, which unfortunately doesn't follow this, actually. It kind of indicates this. But, I think that's probably because, those were the pathways that she used most often, was going back towards German. Right?
But you go to, okay, it's this thing. I go into the German, it's the concept, right? I know it, and then it can connect from there, right? And so what they're saying is that, at least within the hippocampus controls the mapping of these concepts.
I see, yeah.
So the neurons, the grouping of neurons that light up together, they all kind of light up a different way around the concept. Apple is one conformation of neurons, and then apple in French is a different conformation, but it's all in the same place. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm with it.
But at the same time, this is what I'm also going to come back with is to what you were saying, is that this study was people who were bilingual from very young ages. And so perhaps there is a different pathway
yes,
when it comes to learning later in life. and the association. And then you're going to have maybe associations that are not the same as if you learned these languages in a very native way from a very, very young
Right.
age, when your brain was plastic enough to really like locate all this stuff together. So
Yeah,
maybe
that's a
that's the
really
difference.
important distinction. Those are two
Yeah.
very different ways of a language taking up space in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
And then the other study that was related to, that was also people giving their brains to science, which I just think is so amazing. For all the people who have epilepsy and go in for surgery and also are part of a scientific study at the same time, just thank you for doing this work. There's
That's
so
so
much.
cool.
There are
Yeah.
so many studies that like people are like, okay, while I'm in here, can I poke your brain and see what happens? And yeah, okay. Awesome.
That's so cool.
Right? And so the second study that is kind of neat is researchers have been looking at the neural basis of laughter, and it's a review study from Trends in Neurosciences. And but in line with what they did, they studied individuals during epileptic surgery in which people would poke the wrong places, and they found that there's specific areas of the brain that when they're stimulated, people burst out in spontaneous laughter.
That's creepy.
For absolutely no reason, just start laughing.
Wow. Yeah, that's creepy.
Right. And so if you think of the ways that you laugh, there's the social laugh, and the researchers in this paper differentiate between spontaneous laughter and voluntary laughter.
Mm-hmm.
And they define voluntary laughter as that social laughter. So during a conversation, you're like talking, and oh, ha, 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 you know, you say something and oh yeah, ha, ha. You know, it's a way of adding to your vocalizations in a way that is socially acceptable and makes
kind of
you
diffuses tension. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's a different kind of laughter than what they call spontaneous laughter. And so in this exploration of the various areas of the brain related to laughter, what they determined is that there are two separate pathways. And so the spontaneous laughter pathway has to do, it's a whole pathway around from one area of the brain, what they call the premotor area, so the pre-SMA, premotor area, to the cingulum, to down through basically the basal brain areas, not related to cognitive thought so much. Whereas the voluntary laughter go through non-emotional, just basically motor pathways for their creation. And part of the story here that I don't know that I agree with, and I'd love to know if they do more work, how they could rationalize it. But so they say spontaneous laughter often leads to positive emotions, and they show this pathway of spontaneous laughter going through the hypothalamus and going through these basal brain areas or midbrain areas that are related to our emotional centers. So even though when somebody is in surgery for their epilepsy and their premotor area is triggered and they laughed even though they didn't plan on it, but then they feel good. They feel positive emotions. But then, but I don't think that the voluntary laughter is non-emotional. Because
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Because when you're laughing during a social interaction, like you said, to diffuse tension or to make yourself, relaxed, or to relax somebody else, you are doing it. It's voluntary and it is conscious, but at the same time, it's also leading you to have more positive emotions. Right?
Yeah.
So the laughter
for sure.
is never not going to, unless you're like, oh, right? Yeah. We all know the laugh that is not
Yeah.
positive.
But also sometimes voluntary laughter turns into spontaneous laughter.
It does.
So.
Yes. And so there's a connection between the two that is not addressed in this paper. There's a connection between all kinds of laughter and positive emotion that is not addressed by this paper, and I think is even ignored
Mm-hmm.
in a certain to a certain degree. But
Well,
I
they can
love
only
that.
poke so much, you know?
Yeah. But I love too. I mean, when you're just going through listening to something, a podcast, a show like this, or scrolling your reels, or you remember something and you laugh out loud, it just comes out of you, right? That spontaneous laughter, that does feel good. And so yeah, Lon, brains are ticklish, and I think we should all be tickled more. Yeah, I think we should all be tickled more. I think that is something, I don't know, you can't plan it, because then it would be voluntary and
Right.
conscious.
You can if you know what makes you laugh. Then you just,
Exactly.
do that.
Let's all go watch good comedy. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. Anyway, our brains are ticklish. Thank you for that that
Yes.
comment, Lon. I think
That's
it is
right.
absolutely accurate. We've been tickled, and I hope all of you have been tickled by the show tonight. We are going to be ending it now. Blair needs to head out. I need to head out. We all need to head out. We need to get sleep, rest our brains, so that we can have great brain tickling tomorrow.
Yes.
So thanks everyone for joining us. I do hope that you enjoyed the show, and I want to say thank you to everyone in the chat room for keeping us entertained during the show as we kept going. I hope you entertained yourselves as part of the conversation. Additionally, thank you so much to the people who helped the show. Fada, thank you for your help with social media and show notes. Thank you, Gord, Arnlore, others. Fada, also, everyone who helps keep the chat rooms great places to hang out. Identity 4, thank you for recording the show. Rachel, thank you for editing the show. And of course, thank you to our Patreon sponsors. Cannot thank you enough. Thank you. I can't help you. I can't help anyone. I can't help myself. No. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you to Aaron Anathema, Adam Mishkan, Alan Viola, Ali Coffin, Andrew Swanson, Artem, Arthur Kepler, Rob Calder, Bob Coles, Brendan Minish, Brian Carrington, Chris Wozniak, Christopher Dreyer, Christopher Rappin, Craig Landon, Craig Potts, Daryl Myshak, Dave Wilkinson, David E. Youngblood, Don Mundus, E.O., Eden Mundell, Eric Knapp, Flying Out, Fred S104, G. Burton Lattimore, Greg Briggs, Jack, Jason Olds, John Atwood, John McKee, John Ratnaswamy, Johnny Gridley, Ken Hayes, Kent Northcote, Kevin Parachan, Kevin Ridden, Kurt Larson, Lon Makes, Lauren Gifford, Mary Gertz, Marjorie, Mark Kessenflow, Mark Jenkins, Noodles, Patrick Pecoraro, Paul D. Disney, Paul Ronovich, Philip Shane, Pierre Velazar, Richard Badge, Robert Norland, Robert Farley, Rodney Lewis, Rudy Garcia, Jimmy Day, Sean Clarence Lamb, Shoe Brew, Stephanie Embry, Stephen Alberon, Steve Leisman, aka Zima, Sue Doster, Teresa Smith, Tony Steele, and Vegard Shefstad. Thank you for all of your support on Patreon. And if you out there, if you want to support us on Patreon, head over to twist.org and click on that Patreon link. I cannot wait to read your name in this list. On next week's show,
we will be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, broadcasting live from our Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels.
Oh, yeah. And if you want to listen to us as a podcast, just search for This Week in Science wherever podcasts are found. If you enjoyed the show, get your friends to subscribe too. Please share it with your friends.
For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes and links to our stories will be available at our website. That's at www.twist.org. You can also sign up for our newsletter.
And we love your feedback. If there's a topic you would like us to cover or address, or a suggestion for an interview, please let us know in one of our social media accounts or send us an email. Just put TWIS in the subject line so your email does not get spam filtered into oblivion. Or where else would it get spam filtered? Where?
I mean, obviously into a ballista and catapulted into a spider web. I mean, there's no other choice.
There's no other choice tonight.
Yeah, yeah. We look forward to discussing science with you again next week. And if you've learned anything from the show, remember,
It's all in your head.
This week in science. This week in science. This week in science. This week in science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth. And I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's this week in science. This week in science. This week in science. 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 This week in 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 science.